Moms for Liberty really worked miracles.
We have a crisis in America in public education. This is the future of our kids and our country.
You are joyful warriors.
And we are just getting started. Welcome to the Fire of Liberty show. I'm Tina Deskovich, CEO and co-founder of Moms for Liberty. This show, we bring you the frontline warriors, moms and dads that are out fighting in this cultural revolution. And let me tell you, they are some of the best people in America. I love that I have the opportunity each week to help get their story out so that we can hear from them on what's happening. This last 2 weeks has been challenging, I would say, for America as a whole, for our organization, for everyone in the conservative movement. But we saw something this past Sunday that was remarkable. Those 30 minutes on stage when Erica Kirk spoke, I believe, changed millions of lives. I know personally, I was thinking about, who do I need to forgive? What baggage am I carrying around? But what struck me the most, more than her ability to forgive in the worst possible scenario, was that she's a mother. She's a mother of 2 young children. And we are Moms for Liberty. We are, I think, 96% mothers in our organization. And so that's very close to my heart. And obviously I'm a mother, and we often think about the examples that we're being for our children. And I just can't think of a more powerful example for your children than to publicly declare forgiveness for someone that has murdered your spouse and the father of your children, assassinated him. And so, I just want to thank Erica Kirk publicly for setting that example, not just for her 2 young children, but for me and for all of America. And so today's episode, we have another mom from our organization. She's the chapter chair of Hillsborough County, Florida chapter of Moms for Liberty. And she is also a mom of 2 who has been an amazing example to her children. And I thought today would be a good day to kind of talk about that and what that looks like, to talk to your children about America and about the things you're doing in activism and about world events that are happening. Her name is Alyssa Hines. And Alyssa, welcome to the Fire of Liberty show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
I am just excited that you're here. Some people have to fly in and they get to come from places like Washington State and Iowa, but you just had a couple hours to drive, I think.
Yeah. Just a couple hours. Weather didn't change. That was great.
Yeah. It's still warm and sunny in Florida. Yeah. For all of you, I've been traveling around the country. It's actually gotten cold. It was 45 degrees in Boston when I was there this weekend and when I got up in the morning. And so it's a big change. I pack my clothes here and then go there, and it's freezing. So you are here in Florida. Hillsborough County, for those that don't know, is around Tampa. You're a mother of 2. Tell us about your 2 little ones.
They are incredible. Honestly, I have a 9-year-old daughter and a 6-year-old son. And I feel like I just learned so much from them all the time, every day. I always kind of joke that when I had my son, I thought my daughter would kind of get over him. You know, she was 2 years old when I had him. She'd kind of say, oh, new baby, cool, and then move on. And till this day, they are the best of friends. They walk into school every day with their arms around each other. And it completely shocks me every day, because that is not how my sister and I grew up. And, we would always fight, and now we're best friends. But to see these 2, every day, very protective over each other, it's amazing.
Why do you think that is? What's different between the relationship that you and your sister had? And you don't have to talk much about that, but what have you done, I would say, as their mother, to foster or instill that type of relationship between them?
Every day I question that. I have no idea. My sister and I are very close. We're less than 2 years apart. And our mom would always tell us, if you guys aren't going to be best friends, I'm going to force you to be best friends. And eventually we got to that point to where, right around college, or, when I went off to college, we were best friends. And after that, we're still best friends. But these 2 just kind of, honestly, I couldn't tell you. I wish I could, but there's no secret. I don't know what I'm doing differently than my mom did. I think I just got really lucky in how they're turning out.
I am going to bet that it's not just luck. And I bet that as we explore in this episode of the Fire of Liberty show, we're going to understand what things you're doing that are drawing them close together. So you may not see it right now, but I'm guessing in the next 30 to 45 minutes, we're all going to have a better picture of it. And maybe we'll just have to point it out to you. So you've got these two kids. And one thing that I know is I saw you at the White House, I think in January with your daughter.
Yes. That was an amazing experience. And we were so blessed to be able to share that experience. I actually got to bring my sister and her daughter, who they're the same age. And so DC is one of my favorite cities. There's so much history there, and the National Bible Museum is there, and all the monuments and all the museums. And then to be able to go into the White House and the people we got to meet, and, kind of walking her through what this person's responsibilities are. You just met this person, their responsibilities are this, and to really emphasize how important it was to be there and the reason we were there, and protecting their rights as little girls growing up in in our country and playing sports, and knowing that, we're protecting them while what was happening. And I think just their view of it was incredible.
So you were there for the executive order signing of keeping boys out of girls' sports. And I was there. You were up on the risers behind the president with your daughter. And I guess I didn't know your sister was there with her daughter, but what an experience to share together. I was in the audience and found myself tearful just looking at, I think there was 30 of our moms with their daughters there. And some of them I've known for almost 5 years, and I've watched them fight for their children and for this country and for constitutional principles. And I know a lot of their stories, and I know their kids sometimes are, Mom, stop, you're embarrassing. Mom, don't go speak about, Mom, stop making me do this. And then they got to be at the White House and be there to watch history made. And so I'm just like, what did that feel like for you? Like, were you aware of the moment? Were you taking that in with your children? Were you explaining to them step by step what was happening and why they were there? Or were you just like, because we walk in and there's an orchestra playing, and girls just want to have fun, I think it was. But it was done with an orchestra, like with the Marine band or something.
It took you a second to realize what they were playing.
Correct, because it was so beautifully done. And just the awe of, I think that was my first time at the White House too. You're just like, I'm in the White House. And so were you just like, come on, kids, we're at the White House? Or were you really step by step explaining to them what's going on?
So we try to explain it to them, like the importance of it, obviously coming from your mom, or, they're kind of like, okay, whatever. But we had the opportunity to meet a congressman, and he shook her hand and he goes, how cool is it that, like, I've never been this far into the White House, and this is really cool. And she looked at me thinking, this adult, this, person has never been in here, and here I am. And I think that's when it finally clicked, because you never listen to your parents, is like, they don't understand, but you hear it from someone else, and it's the coolest thing. I think that's when it really clicked. And of course they got to meet Riley Gaines. And so that was when they came home and told all their friends, because she is the sweetest person, and, explaining to them her fight in this and the importance. And I think seeing all of those other moms with their kids and seeing like, okay, my mom's not the only crazy one that goes and, talks to people and everything. There's all these other people too are here fighting for us. I think that was a really cool experience to, and show them, all the history in the White House too. So that was great.
Yeah, what an experience. And so some other things I know about you is you take your kids, I think, everywhere, which is what I did when my kids were little too. I have a picture of William, who's 17 now. When I was PTO president, I was running registration day at the elementary school. And so I have him on a mat from my trunk, sleeping underneath a cafeteria table at the elementary school for his nap time, while I'm like schlepping stuff, out to parents. And so my kids, they knock doors with me for my campaign. They've been through it all with me. Some people leave their kids at home or get them a sitter. I try to protect them from it all. What's your approach with these types of things?
First, I try to decide based on the event, like if it's going to be not safe, then obviously I keep them home, and we talk about it later on. But for the most part, like when we went to the White House, there were protesters there that were, yelling things and had all these signs. And it was just a good learning experience to tell them, they were confused why these people were allowed to yell at us. So, well, it's their right. This is, we're
Wait, hold on.
peacefully-
How does that look? Because outside in front of the White House, they're screaming profanities.
Yes.
There's a one lady who's out there 7 days a week. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if she gets paid or what the story is, and she's got the same sign about being a fascist.
Yes.
And she's screaming "F you, fascist"
Mhm.
all day. I don't know if it's 24 hours a day. I don't know the story.
Change it up a bit. I really.
Yeah, so that's all going on. So your kids are now exposed to that.
Yes.
And I think it's interesting that you said they didn't understand why that was allowed to happen.
Yes, because obviously at home we don't do those things. We don't scream at each other when we disagree. We don't swear or hold up signs when calling each other these ridiculous things. And so explaining to them why it was their right, and as long as they were peacefully protesting, and once it became aggressive or dangerous, then it's no longer a right. It's no longer okay to cause harm to other people just because you disagree. And so that was very helpful. I think that also taught them, like, I shouldn't just scream at people, be peaceful about it. And then I just explained that it's okay if everyone doesn't agree with us, and it's okay if we don't agree with them, just as long as we do it peacefully. And I think that's what they understood. They didn't quite understand some of the things that they were saying, and we didn't go into a whole like what is a fascist type of thing, because they were 9 or 8. That'll be maybe at 10 we'll talk about that. But it was a good helpful this just to see that not everyone agrees with us, and it's okay.
Yeah, think about it from a child's mind. Where are their parents? Why are their parents telling them not to swear? Why are their parents not telling them to, but to understand that they have the right to do that at such a young age? Thank you for taking the time to explain that to them instead of don't look and ignore them, keep going. You actually took the time to share. And those are the types of things I want to talk about today, because often parents just say, don't look, keep moving, or don't bring their kids to these things because they might be exposed to some of the harder things. And so I just think you're a great example at this. What other types of things have you brought your children to?
We've door knocked. They bring their scooters and we ride around the neighborhoods. Well, I promise them ice cream or, ice pops afterwards because it's hot, and they love it. Sometimes they get into it too. And when we knock on a door and someone answers, they talk about the candidate as much as they can, and then, answer any questions, and they wear their, Moms for Liberty shirts, and sometimes they don't love it so much, towards the end, like, okay, you guys have done good today. And what's really great is towards the end of it, I don't know if my daughter could see I was getting, whether it was discouraged or exhausted, or she asked me, she goes, what are you going to do if you don't win? And honestly, at that point, I was like, you know what, maybe I'm just going to take a little break. I don't know. She goes, you can't do that. You can't quit. I was like, well, I'm not going to quit. She goes, no, you have to keep going.
I love that so much.
In my head, I'm like, no, I want to quit. I'm tired. And then I was like, you know what? Nope, you're right, Mia. I'm going to keep going. And so I think that they, as much as I show them things, they are constantly like reminding me that we're here to protect, like we're here for a purpose. You can't quit.
I think what a moment for your what was she, 10 now?
She's 9.
9, for her to encourage you to stay on mission and keep going, Mom. They must have a lot of respect watching you do this work.
Oh, thank you. I really hope so. I think just leading, I always tell them to lead by example. And it also reminds me that I have to do that also, obviously, so do the best.
Have you ever been concerned about their safety bringing them to knock doors?
I don't think so. I think we are. I also bring my husband. He walks, usually walks with us also, and, keeps them from going too far.
Hold on. I love that you said, I bring my husband. Does that mean that, is he wearing the shirt too?
Yeah.
Is he knocking the door too? Or is he just like, I'm just here to make sure nothing happens. I don't know what they're doing, but I'm here just to
He's
support.
the carrier. He holds all my flyers and, keeps them from going too far while I'm at a door. And
is he on board with all your activism work? Or does he?
Yes, and I don't know if he has, it's not that he does, I think 100% he is, but he also didn't have a choice. I was like, this is what I'm doing. So I'm hoping you're going to be okay here.
Well, I think it's clear that he's more than just okay. If he's there, helping with the kids and being supportive.
Oh, yeah.
What a good guy. He's a keeper.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Good. So wonderful. And so you're not so much concerned about their safety. Your husband's there also to help with the door knocking.
Yep. There have been a few times that we had, in our neighborhood, we get a little not nervous, but we kind of we have, our American flag in our front yard. I have a sign that said, parental rights for all. And we do have some neighbors that don't agree. We've had them come by, spit in our yard, stick their middle fingers up at us. They've called my kids baby Nazis to them before. And I think just explaining to them that, again, it's, their right to do so. They, they don't agree with us, and that's okay. And my kids just come out way more joyful than I do sometimes, because it's not easy, especially when they, direct it at the kids. For the most part, they can say what they want, but, directing it to them, and they just say, well, just pray for them. I'm like, good job, guys. Like,
oh my goodness.
Teamwork here.
Tell me the name of your daughter again.
Mia.
Mia. Like, Mia, if you're listening, I'm so inspired and impressed by your encouragement of your mother to be joyful and prayerful, and encouraging her when she's weak. So please share that with her later.
Oh, I will, definitely.
I'm so impressed with both of them. Again, a reflection to you and your husband. We didn't include him in the opening because we were talking about motherhood, but it takes a team. And, when I opened, I was talking about Erica Kirk a little bit, in her 30-minute speech at the memorial on Sunday. Did you watch that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Powerful. Wasn't just setting the example on forgiveness, wasn't just being an example to her children, but she talked about marriage and her husband and what that should look like too. It was so beautiful. And so in your case, you've got this husband that's supporting you too. And I love it. Okay. So let's go back to knocking doors real quick, because I love to knock doors. And so
I always am promoting everyone, go knock doors. That's how you can help.
What? Tell me, do you like knocking doors?
No.
Oh gosh.
I'm naturally an introvert. And so knocking on a stranger's door to talk to them isn't exactly my favorite, natural ability.
Do you like it when they open and the conversation starts?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. That's the part I'm talking about. I mean, knocking on you don't know what you're going to get when you knock sometimes. But there's some amazing conversations, in my opinion, that happen once that door is open.
Yes. I actually enjoy the conversations that start off when they don't agree with what we're talking about or what we stand for. I think it helps, it's a lot easier. It helps with just having a better understanding of both sides. And then that way too, to me, if you have a conversation with someone who disagrees with you, it also gives you a better understanding of how to have those conversations going forward. So I love talking to people. Actually, I think I'm better at talking to people who disagree with me than I am with a room full of people who agree.
Fascinating. So tell me, this will be the last question, and then we can move on from door knocking. If it comes to mind, best experience door knocking, or a memorable experience on the positive side, of course, and were your children there? I would like to know that too.
I think my son was with me, and I'm pretty sure they only answered because he was with me. They thought maybe he was selling popcorn or something. And they answered, and he gave them the flyer, the door hanger, and they had never voted for a school board member ever. They didn't know who there was. They didn't even know it was on the ballot, any of that. And
just for the record, that's very common.
Very, very common.
Elections are the least voted in. I'm sure I'm not wording that correctly. Most of the time, people have no idea who their school board members are or what they stand for. They're nonpartisan here in Florida. You don't even have a general idea where their worldview is. And so not surprising that they had no idea.
Yeah. So really the only reason they would vote is if someone came to their door and told them about them, because they have no idea. So I did get a chance to talk to them about our candidate and what they stood for. And then a little bit about Moms for Liberty, because they had only heard things that they see on social media, which isn't always the best. And then the gentleman said, well, you're not a terrorist. I'm like,
oh, wow.
No,
so he had
sir, I'm not.
He had heard some things in the mainstream media about Moms for Liberty.
And my eyes just got big. I really I thought it was going to be at the beginning of the conversation, honestly, if that's something that came out. And I was like, well, no, I'm not. And he's like, okay, well, I'll take the flyer and thanks for the information. And I was like, you're welcome. You have a great day. And I walked away just thinking he had no idea what I was there for. He had never voted for a school board candidate, didn't know anything about them, listened to everything I just told him. And in the back of his head, the whole time, he's readjusting his idea of thinking that we were this dangerous, evil people. And by the end of the conversation, he realized, well, you're not. You're. And so instead of just shutting the door on my face, finding out, based on that one judgment he had a conversation. And I don't know if I made him a super fan, but at least it had him having those like those thoughts in his head. And I think that's what really stuck out to me. Like, okay, you can have conversations and like change people's minds about certain things.
One person at a time. Our chapter chair here locally, Karen, that's always her approach. She goes to school board meetings and she's like, I'm just going to talk to one person and let them see that I am not crazy. I am not hateful. I am not a terrorist, and build that relationship one person at a time. And you did it with a complete stranger, which is beautiful. And your son was witness to it. Did you have a conversation with him after?
I did have to explain to him what a terrorist was. And he just looked at me like, what? Like,
why would anyone call my mom that name? Like, you care for me, you nurture me, you raise me, you love me. Like, that doesn't even compute.
And I said, yeah, it's just another thing. Some people just, don't agree with our ideas, and it's okay. And that's just kind of what I reiterate a lot of times is it's okay. We don't have to agree on everything.
Well, we do have to agree that you're not a terrorist.
Yeah.
I'm going to go that one. Okay. I want to talk a little bit now about your intro, not just being an introvert, but when you told me, is it a disability? I don't know what to call it. You can describe it, but there's a lot of people that are activists now that are introverts, are terrified to speak up. I think Scarlett was our very first episode. I think she said she went in the bathroom and literally threw up before she went and spoke at her first school board meeting. So it's not unusual for a lot of our moms to have no desire to speak, but they feel like they have to stand up for children. But with you, it's a whole nother level. So why don't you tell those that are listening about you and again, I'm not sure if I call it a disability or what you've had to overcome to be able to speak publicly.
Yeah. So when I was a kid, I was diagnosed with Lyme disease. And so what happened was it gotten into all of my, like, it's in everywhere, all over me, in my blood system, my bones, my brain, everything. And so one of the symptoms, when you get nervous, it kind of shuts your body down a little bit. You literally freeze, like, except, you get little tremors in your hands, sweaty palms like everyone else, but you literally freeze. Like, you cannot move. You stutter and you can't stop. Like, I've had so many times where I'll repeat myself and I just can't stop it. And leading up to, fighting for my kids, I failed public speaking in college. Like, I had to do a few presentations for work. And there were times that I literally stood there and someone else had to come and finish the presentation because I just physically could not.
Your body physically freezes?
Like I can't just walk away and go sit down.
You have to, not only do you have
just
to
stand there until I can move.
That's terrible. That's really terrible. So your body cannot move, like it physically can't move, or your brain can't tell it to move. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, is it like locked
so up? I get tremors, my hands shake, and then I physically, like, I just want to be like, I just want to go sit down, and my body can't do it. It just stays put. And then I start stuttering and, repeating things, and it's just something that I had accepted. I'm like, I'm not a public speaker. That's okay. I'm naturally an introvert anyway. But then it got to a point where now I have no choice. Like, I felt like I have no choice. I have to go and speak on these things to protect our kids and protect their friends and our community. And it hasn't been an issue. And so I don't know if it's just something that clicked in my head that this is something I am passionate for. And I know that I have to speak for it. And I've never had a problem.
So you've spoken at school board meetings.
Mm-hmm.
Have you spoken like at the state level, state board of ed or legislature? Or anything like that?
I did go and speak at one of the state board of education meetings a few years ago.
Okay. These are big deals. These aren't just speaking to your class of 20 in college where you couldn't pull it off. So how does that happen?
When I first told my mom and my sister actually that I was going to go and speak, they both kind of were like, are you sure? Because there's cameras, there's strangers that are already not agreeing with what you're about to say. And I said, yeah, I'm going to do this. And not that I'm like super confident when I get up there, I'm like ready to go, because I still get nervous. I still, my hands sweat and my heart races, but it's just, I don't know if it's just like a natural urge, like it's inside of me that this is what I have to do. I can't sit back and just be like, okay, I'm raising my kids and we're going to be okay. It's something that I feel like I have to
So remarkable.
like push through. And I honestly, I don't know why I haven't had the problem. I'm very
miracle.
thankful.
Can we call it a miracle? Maybe
that would be the only explanation.
it's amazing. And do your kids know about before you spoke out and how you used to freeze up and how this, I mean, have you explained that to them?
Yes, I've explained a little bit of how, I mean, they see me being an introvert naturally when I'm not doing these things.
Mhm.
And so they, I've told them, well, it's not just me being an introvert. I just don't want to get in front of people and be stuck there.
Remarkable. Okay, we're going to take a break now and talk about Summit a little bit because our Summit is, I think, 19 days away. Are you going to be there?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
so
going to be
excited.
exciting. It's in Orlando, Florida this year at the Gaylord Palms, and have you been to the Gaylord?
One time, I haven't, and everyone keeps saying it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, it is beautiful. There's so much to do. Even just you never have to leave the hotel, but if you want to leave the hotel, there's free shuttles, I think, to the parks and all types of things. It's worth bringing your family for, staying for the whole time. We have some great things planned. We are going to watch a video now, and then when we come back, we'll talk a little bit about some of the speakers that we are announcing, and we are going to come back and talk to Alyssa about where her journey started with this. And it's not where you think. It actually started in the 1700s. So let's watch that video now about Summit.
Elena, what state are you from?
New York.
Hawaii.
I'm from Texas, Washington. I have my kids actually with me to do the march.
Wherever I go, odds are there is a Moms for Liberty group or a whole tribe in the room sounding off loud and proud.
And you could see the passion here because it's about supporting kids.
Pledge to each other that we will live like men and women who are determined to remain free.
I'm for parental rights all the way.
Welcome back to the Fire of Liberty show. I'm Tina Deskovich, the CEO and co-founder of Moms for Liberty. My guest today is Alyssa Hines. She is the chapter chair in Hillsborough County, Florida. We are talking about Summit a little bit right now, and you just saw a video. You just saw President Trump say he is for parental rights all the way, which we know. We've had some great speakers in past years. We have not announced all the speakers yet. Did you know we're going to have James O'Keefe?
I just saw that. That is so exciting.
Yeah, he's going to talk to them about a lot of things, but undercover journalism. And we're talking to him now about something that he wants to bring for all the participants and potentially even doing a breakout session on how to be an undercover journalist. So I think Jamie's talking to his team about that today. So not sure on the breakout yet, but we're thrilled to have him on the main stage on Saturday at our national summit, October 16th through the 19th in Orlando, Florida. Go to momsforliberty.org/summit25. We also, who are some of the other names we've announced? We've got the Lieutenant Governor of Florida coming. We've got Congressman Byron Donalds coming. He is always a favorite. He's been with us, I think, 3 of the 4 summits. I don't think he spoke at the very first one.
Yeah, I don't.
Have you been to
so.
all 4 summits?
I've been to all 4.
That is amazing. Yeah. Which has been your favorite of the 4?
I don't know. Philadelphia was good, and DC, because I love those cities because all of the history that's there.
That's why we went there.
But the summits themselves, I just love them in general and just being around everyone.
What's your favorite thing about Summit?
I feel like it comes at like a perfect time for at least me personally, when like you have all these things going on and you're like stressing about them all and, kind of feeling down or alone in a lot of these fights. And you get to the summit and it's just everyone from everywhere. And you realize that we're all supporting each other and we are all dealing with these things and you're not alone. And then having these speakers talk to you and, answer questions and talk about things that you thought, am I crazy for thinking like this? And then it just makes you feel validated that yes, you are fighting for a good cause and you have all of this support around you. And what's great is like I'll be bringing my kids, and just knowing that they are surrounded by people who support, protect their innocence, and, other kids that love America also. It's just fun.
Yeah. Being with your people. Like, I'll shorten what you
yes,
just said. Like,
exactly.
being with your people is hands down the best part of Summit. And that means your fellow members, folks that think like you that are attending, have the same worldview, all the way up to these very famous speakers, including last 2 years President Trump, and others from the cabinet. We had Tulsi Gabbard last year. And Tulsi was like, everywhere I go, there's a posse of Moms for Liberty members everywhere. And so we became good friends with Tulsi last year. We also have Benny Johnson this year. I'm not sure if you saw that one. He spoke at Charlie Kirk's memorial too and did a beautiful job. And so we're looking forward to having Benny, his wife, Nurse Kate.
Yeah, they're actually live locally. And so I'm
locally near you.
Yeah.
Oh.
And so I'm pretty excited to see him speak live. I see all his videos, and we're pretty close. And so I was like, man, now we're going to be at the same event.
Real America's Voice is going to be, they're our media partner. So they're going to be broadcasting live this year from Summit. It's going to be very exciting. So get your tickets. We sell out every year. We only have 19 days till it starts, usually about a week prior. Tickets are gone. So if you do the math, you've got less than 2 weeks to get your Summit tickets. Okay. And now I want to talk to you about where your story starts, because everyone that is on the podcast, they emailed kind of their story to me and I review it. And then we have a phone call and kind of talk about what we're going to talk about. And everyone's story so far, I would say like 90% of the people that have been on here, their story's like, well, it started during COVID. But your answer, I was like, whoa, your story started in the 1700s. And so explain that a little bit.
So my family, we're very into learning about our genealogy and seeing where we come from. One, because we are very passionate about certain things. You're like, this is like, where did this all come from? And so we actually started looking into it, and we have relatives. I think it's like a seventh or eighth grandfather that actually fought in the American Revolution. We have an expeditionist on the Lewis and Clark expedition. We have brothers in our history that fought against each other in the Civil War just based on their address. We have, other war veterans. We have actually a relative that ran for president at one point.
Wow.
We have Pearl Harbor, Vietnam, all these different men and who fought for our freedoms, and not just like went out there and yelled or protest, but actually fought to protect and to build our freedoms in the country.
That's a deep, rich American cultural history. And I'm extremely jealous of it. For those that know me, when I have free time, which isn't often since I started Moms for Liberty, but my only hobby probably is genealogy. I've been a member of Ancestry.com for I think 30 years. And if I'm sitting in a doctor's office and not answering emails or something, I'm actually on the app looking at the little leaves. I don't know if you use Ancestry.com, if they're the hints, right? And I'm like, oh, a new hint for my 3 times great grandmother. And I'm hoping it'll open a whole nother door. So I am extremely jealous of your American heritage. I do not have that heritage. My earliest ancestor came here in 1803, and 90% of my ancestors came in the early 1900s. And so I've got no revolution. I tried to join DAR, and they're like, sorry, you don't have any connection to the Revolutionary
I'm actually
War.
in the middle of the application process.
Are
It
you?
is a lengthy process, and it's great. I'm so excited. And I'm actually very excited for that too.
Yeah. Well, we had the march last year in the DAR.
Yeah, that's actually what got me thinking about it.
Really?
Yes. I was like, wait, I have relatives. I'm a daughter of the revolution.
So amazing. Well, I'm jealous, but congratulations. I'm sure you'll be accepted to DAR, and you'll be able to have a new friend base of women that are also descendants and appreciate that they had that rich American history. How does that impact what you're doing now? Do you think about it? Does it drive what you do? How does that impact who you are?
I think it impacts a lot because I am constantly thinking about the sacrifices that they've made and the struggles that they actually had to not even just to build our freedoms up to what we are fighting for. They were constantly, fighting as hard as they could just to, get us the freedom from, other countries, to have our own, to have a constitution of our own, to give the citizens of our country their freedoms. And I think remembering that sometimes when I'm like, oh, I don't feel like talking to people today. Like, I'm going to be inside in air conditioning, just talking. Like, if my forefathers and my, grandparents and generations before this could go out and literally fight to protect our freedoms, I have no excuse because I don't want to put my shoes on and leave my house to talk to people.
I wish we could translate that to every American child, because they may be your direct blood relatives. You may be a direct blood descendant of them, but that's our heritage, I think, as a country, as a whole. Again, I don't have ancestors from the revolution. Mine were immigrants, but I can relate to your story because I know my history, that they left everything behind. For example, one branch from Italy, and they came to New York City and lived in tenement buildings, worked in factories. My great aunt made buttonholes for 40 years in the sweatshops. And so she did that so that I and our generations could have a better life, so that I was able to go to college. You know what I mean? Like, I see that direct line. And so my ancestors did not fight in the Revolution or the Civil War, but they also sacrificed so that our lives could be better. And if every American understood that and looked at their history, their genealogy, or even borrowed yours or mine, I think they would have much more purpose and meaning. And dang it, they would feel the deep sense of responsibility to be civically engaged.
I 100% agree. I think a lot of what our problems, at least for me, when I go out and talk to people, is they just don't know these things. Like, they were taught, the Constitution, all those things.
Were they taught the Constitution? Because
that's very true.
This just came out last week. I think that was the NAEP scores for 12th graders. 22% were proficient in civics. 22%. How do you have a voting citizenry that's we the people, that's supposed to have the power of the government, if only 22% are proficient in what that government is? Only 2 in 5 can answer a basic statistic on American history. 2 in 5. Like, you say they learned about it in school, but did they?
That's such a good point. And I think that's what I try to do a lot now, is even to adults, like, explain to them that, what they are, what their rights are, and, try to lead them to read the Constitution, read, I think they have like read the Constitution for Dummies, and, things that break it down. Because how are you supposed to go and vote for something that you don't even know vote for president? You don't know what they can do. Vote for your congressman, your judge, like all these people. If you don't know what their duties are, how are you supposed to vote them into a position to do those things? And I think that's a lot of what happens.
How do you recommend they learn? So let's just say you're a mom right now, you're listening, and you're like, that's me. I don't know anything about the Constitution. If I learned about it, I don't remember learning about it. When people say separation of powers or church and state, I think I know what that means, but I don't really know it. I don't know where that comes from. What would you recommend? Right. And you're on the spot here, because I think I think there's a right answer, but let's see what you have to say.
Read it.
Yeah, that's good.
Read the Constitution. If you don't understand it, there are like different courses, free.
There's Madison meetups. That's what I'm trying to drive you to.
Yes. And like, there's different ways to do that. And I don't know. To me, I just read it. Like you said, Madison meetups, go through it, what the articles are. And my favorite part is going through the history of them. Like, not only this is the rule, but why did they think that rule is so important? That way I have a better understanding of what the reason why I'm fighting to keep the Constitution intact, because of the reasoning behind it is, I think, what's so important.
Yeah. So I'm obviously going to push Moms for Liberty's Madison meetups. Right now it consists of, it's like a book club, and you can order online, and we just have a book that we're reselling from Amazon, How to Read the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence. We've made little brochures that we include. We give you 10 pocket constitutions. It's really simple, actually. And you can sit around and have discussions with your group. And so you're not alone. There's no stupid question, no stupid answer. And you've got your phones and Google, which also helps sometimes if it's not being biased. But it can open your mind to having discussions about the First Amendment and the Second Amendment and all the amendments and even the Declaration of Independence. And so just for your information and those that are watching, for our America 250 plan, we're going to relaunch the Madison Meetup program with a whole lot more resources to help support that program so that folks can learn about our founding documents.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. Actually, our chapter, we just talked about starting a book club, a Constitution book club, and Madison Meetup, and we had a lot of people interested in it.
Wonderful.
Yes, and I was so excited. This is one of my favorite things.
Let's call it a revival of constitutional studying and principles for America 250. Going into our 250th birthday, what better thing can we do than to know our founding documents? And just to plug some other places to go, I think Hillsdale College has a free I did it several years ago. It's just a free online series.
Yeah, they have multiple. They have a lot of them on there that I've listened through, and
so good
about all of the different documents and the history behind them.
Patriot Academy has things online. They have the Constitution Alive class, the Biblical Principles class. You can do all that online. You can go to Patriot Academy in Texas. Did you go with us?
Yes, that was amazing.
So great.
It was so cool.
It's so fun. So there's a lot of our partners and friends out there. Heritage Foundation also has some things you can sign up for. And so we just encourage you. We'd love for you to do a Madison meetup with Moms for Liberty, but there's a lot of things, a lot of places online you can go to gain more knowledge about our founding documents. So you're a champion of that. Do you teach this stuff to your children? Have your children. So I don't know if you saw on Constitution Day, I posted William, who's 17 now. I think he was 7. For family night one night, we all memorized the preamble.
Yes.
I remembered it in middle school, but I made all my kids memorize it. And so he was so proud, like 6 or 7 years old, and he's just going around saying the preamble. So one day I caught him, I think, in the back of the car, and that's my favorite video. Every year on Constitution Day, I post it. So do you teach your children, and how do you do that?
Yes. And actually, my sister and I, being really competitive when we were growing up, we learned it in school through Schoolhouse Rock, I think it was.
Yeah.
Like that
was the
cartoons,
the Bill on Capitol Hill,
we learned
all
the presidents,
things.
all of those things. And so now, even to this day, go to our kids, who says it faster? And so my sister always says it faster, the preamble. But
so you know it too.
Kind of.
I'm not going to make you recite it I did.
So in that case, I know 100%. But yeah, we just, teach them those things. And obviously it's, when we go through it, we try to teach them at their level. And we also, we go to a great school. My sister homeschools. Our school is great. They also teach them at their own level, which is super helpful. So then they come home with questions and I can answer those. Not quite I'm not naturally a teacher at that. It just doesn't come naturally to me. So when they come home with questions, I can answer them. But thankfully they, we talk about it and then we kind of go through. And I think we have a book too at home. I forget what it was called, but it's different as long their age levels. We read along that.
Wonderful. Excellent. Everybody should be teaching their children about the history of America, the foundation of America, and the founding documents. So, okay, let's transition a little bit into your chapter. What kind of work does your chapter do? You were telling me you had a great chapter meeting last night. Tell me about the people you work with, what things you guys advocate for, and some of the successes you've had.
We focus on trying to do a lot providing help and support to a lot of either our members or just people who reach out to us. We have our school district is the 7th largest one in the country.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, and it's a wide range of different schools. I think there's over 300 schools in our district.
It's massive.
Yes. And so we try to do our best to help support our members, whether it's, a teacher with a problem in their school or a student and a parent, just try to help them the best way we can, or however they want us to help. Some people want us to help them or solve their problem, but they're afraid of the retaliation. So we say, you know what, we'll do it for you.
We're not scared.
Yeah.
My whole body will lock up, but I'll get up and do it for you. No worries, ma'am or sir.
And so whether, we either tell them, you fight the battle, here are the emails, here are the time of the school board meetings, here are the people you can contact, and we'll be right along the way with you. Or we say, okay, we'll take care of it for you, and help you, we'll show you how to do it and support them next time if something happens to have the courage.
Yeah.
I think our goal is to give parents the courage to do it themselves, but with our support.
Well, I mean, our 3 values are to stand for truth, to build relationships. And then number 3 is to empower others. And so it sounds to me like you do a good job in your chapter of empowering others.
Yes. And that's the truth part is actually what I always tell them. Like, we are speaking truth. We just, as hard as it is, especially, for moms and for having their kids and they don't want to be retaliated against, all that. I said, just keep speaking truth. And you don't have to worry about other people's opinions, because what you're saying is true. And what you're saying is, to keep your child protected, and it's going to be okay. And I think just encouraging them to, be okay with other people disagreeing with them. Because as adults, that's very hard for us also to, not be okay when people don't like us, not just for kids to do that. So whether we gain a member or a friend, and, just encourage them along the way too.
What would you tell a parent that's scared to speak up? Feels like when they have tried in the past, doesn't matter, no one's listening, it's too big of a problem. Have any words of encouragement for them?
I would tell them, just do it. Just like
Nike.
yeah. Just speak up. If someone is listening, whether you're speaking to a crowd of 100 people or you're speaking to a school board of 5, someone is listening. They may not agree, but they are listening, and it's making them think about what their ideas are and what is truth. Like I said, I tend to enjoy speaking to more people who don't agree with me, just to help them think about
I love
what they're, what they believe but then they know what truth is. And I think just remember that our kids are watching.
I love it. I was just going to say that. And your kids are watching. They want to know if you're going to be a coward or if you're going to be courageous. They are watching if you speak truth when it's time and when it's important, if you're going to stand up for them. And I think your kids see that in you. So tell me, we're going to start to close this out here. What does it mean to you at Moms for Liberty? For those that are watching, we call ourselves joyful warriors for a variety of reasons. But what does it mean to you to be a joyful warrior?
I think standing for truth with confidence in what you're saying, and just doing it, not saying you have to do it with a big perky smile on your face every time, but just doing it respectfully, and understand that the battle you're fighting or arguing with or, going after isn't that person that disagrees with you. It's the topic. It's, everything in between it. And so just doing it respectfully and accepting that not everyone's going to like what you're saying, but it's okay. You can move on and keep talking and just keep speaking the truth. And I think in that, it's going to you're going to start having that courage and that fire inside to just keep going. And it makes it, a little easier to smile and, do it joyfully, knowing you're speaking truth.
Why is it important to do it joyfully and not unjoyfully?
Just kind of what I've always said. Our kids are watching. Other people are watching. Other people's kids are watching. Other, adults who haven't been able to step up yet, they can see how to handle it. Yeah. I think leading by example is one of the best ways to do things.
You heard it, folks. Your children are watching. That's the title of this episode. It was an honor to have you here today, Alyssa, the chapter chair, Alyssa Hines from Hillsborough County, Florida. Her children are watching, and they have learned, I would say, a tremendous amount of things from you. And your ability, I think what came out in this episode is your ability to keep telling your children and others that it's okay to disagree. And you can still love that person, and you can still pray for that person. And it's okay to stand on truth. And so we opened this episode and you said you didn't know why your children got along. They see you loving and disagreeing respectfully with each other. So it's my guess that your children have witnessed that. And when they disagree, that they're able to do it because of your example. And so it was my honor again today to have our guest, Alyssa Hines. Each of these women and men warriors on the front lines are remarkable people, and I love bringing them to you every week. This is the Fire of Liberty show. I'm Tina Descovich, the CEO and co-founder of Moms for Liberty, and we will see you next week at 10 a.m. live.